I just want to thank all of you for everything you do for the program. Our alumni, friends, family, and alumni database of the University of Notre Dame Swimming is really powerful. So thank you for all that you do for us. We are able to put on this coaches chat each year. We're able to coordinate it because of the Rockne Athletics Fund. So thank you for all your support that you give to that. The Rockne Athletics Fund is what creates these amazing student athlete experiences so that Chris and staff can help the team reach their goals. So we wanted to we host these chats so that you all can be more engaged in our day-to-day mission. We couldn't do what we do today without your support. So thank you for everything you do today, and thank you for everything you may or may not plan to do in the future. But your support of the swim program has meant so much to us. So thank you. I feel so lucky to be an alumni of the program. I feel so lucky to represent the university, and I'm going to let Chris and Emma take it. And thank you for both of you for your time today, and go for it.
Thanks, Birdie.
Thanks, Brie. Oh, she just disappeared. Cool. Yeah, I am so grateful to be here and so happy to see so many familiar faces and names, and Hayden, my entire family who's on here too. Happy tax day, everybody. Hope everyone got their taxes in. Don't have any stragglers. Wait until the last minute. When I got together with Chris yesterday to prep for this, I asked him how he wanted to be introduced. Like, are there any important achievements, any significant milestones, titles, awards, what have you? And he simply said, I mostly just want to give love and recognition to my family. And I was like, oh, so sweet. I just about melted. And after properly stalking him on social media and seeing that he thanks his family at the end of nearly every post, yep, I can tell that this guy walks the walk when it comes to family first. And I couldn't be happier to have someone like that at the helm of the program. Chris and his wife, Beth, who recently got a job in development at Notre Dame. So this is officially a family affair. They've put down some incredible roots in South Bend for their 3 adorable kids, like Chris said, Jack, Owen, and Brady. And Chris, I sincerely hope that our Notre Dame family has made your family feel so welcome in y'all's new home under the dome.
Thanks, Emma. It's been great. Which, side note, I don't know if you guys see who's up on my board there, but there she is. But thank you so much for doing this. This is awesome. I'm grateful as well to be here and to be able to do this. I see a lot of familiar faces up on my scroll bar here, but I also see some new faces, and that's exactly why we're doing this, is that outreach. And it's so important to give back, to get to know our family here at Notre Dame. And so extremely grateful to be here and happy to discuss an amazing year and the future and beyond.
Yeah, me too. Very excited. It's been a great year. So before we officially get started, I do want to preface, this is my first time doing anything like this, being on the giving end of an interview. So if it looks like I need saving, use the chat function, ask a question, say something funny. I'm looking at you, Dad, and I guess Don Casey, you're right there. And hopefully that year and a half of improv training that I did before the pandemic will kick in. I do have some pre-written questions over here to my left, but I'll be taking questions that you guys submitted on the registration form too. I'll kind of splice those in. So cross your fingers that yours gets picked. And yeah, feel free to use the chat function. We'll try to get to as many as we can if we have time. And without further ado, let's dive in.
Let's
you ready,
go.
Chris?
I'm ready.
Okay. So I like this one to start out with. You were with a successful program at Louisville for 13 years. Why Notre Dame and why now?
Great question. Listen, from afar, even though I was at Louisville from afar for years, we were in the Big East Conference. I always knew Notre Dame, and watching the team from afar and watching Tim's success, the way he led the team with integrity, you always knew that Notre Dame was going to come to play at the highest level. And it was so fun to see them compete at that level. So when I began the interview process, just meeting people, feeling that connection, like we mentioned, family is a big part for me. Obviously my family here, but they say you're the sum or the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. And so outside of my little crew here, it's going to be who I'm working with here at Notre Dame. And I immediately fell in love and was attracted to the athletic administration. Those involved closely with this program, our sport administrators, Julie Schreiber her passion, her vision for this program. And then soon before you knew it, it became why not Notre Dame? It was a clear choice. And it ultimately, like I've said, it's a feeling. I feel like everything happens for a reason. Um, Destiny speaks to me like that. And so when the opportunity came up, I knew it was the right fit, and certainly glad I took it.
Yeah, we are too. When you said it was a feeling, I know that I and probably a lot of people on this call that went to Notre Dame can resonate with that feeling, and maybe even having a specific moment where you were like, this, I can't say no to this. Like, this is where I have to be. Do you remember that moment where you were? What was happening?
Yeah, I came on my interview, and I did two campus walks. I did one at sunrise and one at sunset.
Yeah.
And this was obviously kind of pre and post the day, and they put you through a day, let me tell you.
For sure.
But I got a sense of, wow, this feels like home. This feels like home. Um and I put a lot of thought into, and a lot of prayer, and obviously um, a lot of discussion with my family, my wife. They play a huge part in this as well. And I just remember saying to Beth, my wife, I'm like, "This is the place. Let's do this." And whether or not campus played mind tricks on me, I don't know, but
It does that. It'll do that.
there was just something about it, and it just felt right. And so those two moments always, as you go through the grind of an interview, and it is a long day and it's a grind, especially here at Notre Dame. Those two moments just still linger to this day and still stick with me. So
I definitely hear that. This is a later question, which I won't get to now, but I said, I remember my recruiting trip to Notre Dame like it was yesterday. It sounds kind of grandiose, but the feeling of home was so all consuming the whole weekend.
there you go.
It's crazy. Anyway, love to hear that. The next question is, Tim Welsh, a beloved part of the Notre Dame swim history, apparently played a role in your career as an athlete and a coach. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, yes. Just a lovely man overall. Just when I think of Tim, again, so I was in a unique situation competing against Notre Dame, and Tim was the coach where you came on deck, and he knew of me, and obviously we would compete, but it was always like, "How are you doing? How are things going? Great swims." Yeah, we would talk some swimming stuff, but it was always deeper than that. And I always just remember and cherish those moments, those conversations with him on deck. And it just went in, and it said a lot to me, and went into the fact of, this is a man with integrity, and who does it the right way, who gets the big picture of what we do, not just chlorine and lane lines, but the big picture. And then obviously when I got the job at Louisville as a young coach, you're always searching and looking at your mentors. And I certainly had a great one at Louisville, but there's a lot of great coaches, and within the ACC, Tim certainly stood out. And so just, again, on deck, talking about life balance of being a coach and having a family, how you interact with your student athletes when they have a bad swim, good swim, like, the good, bad, and the ugly, and just being able to reach people. And I think Tim, he, just did a phenomenal job at that. So certainly an idol of mine, certainly an idol of this program, and someone that we cherish here deeply.
Yeah. Whenever I talk about Tim and try to explain him to people that have never met him, I always say, he is genuinely in every facet the best guy you could ever meet. Like, wholeheartedly the best person.
Yes.
It's just so cool to see the impact that he's had on not only the Notre Dame people on this call, but you as well. Everyone.
And still to this day, we honor him, and we make sure we carry on that message. It's important that we remember where we come from, and we hold on to those roots and the people that helped pave the way. And it's not just him, there's others as well, Dennis Stark, and there's a history here at Notre Dame of great people. And certainly it's important that we cherish them, we honor their story, their message for this program, because ultimately that's who we are. So certainly a huge role in my career to get here.
Yeah. Speaking of great people, you have built a staff here at Notre Dame with Cameron, Kelsey, Trevor, and Josh, and it's clear that you all really, really trust each other. Can you tell me more about the qualities of each of them and how you see them each uniquely helping you build a culture of success?
Yeah, that's a great question. Listen, back to the summer, the average of the 5 people you hang around the most, right? And that's my staff. And they're just phenomenal humans. Like I know that seems simple, but when I was looking to build a staff, I was looking at the characteristics. It's not so much X's and O's. I knew I could get great coaches and we can write great sets and adjust techniques and things like that. It's the personable ability to relate with today's student athlete. And it's, as a coach, you have to be a chameleon. You got to be able to change your color and adapt. And so looking for adaptable people who believe in our journey and what we're trying to build here at Notre Dame and the passion behind what we're trying to do, that excitement, the opportunity, the attitude of gratitude, those were the things that I put weight on when I was making my hires. Cameron is somebody that I've coached. I coached him, and then I worked with Cam for 7 years. And so trust is number one. So putting him in a leadership role on my staff, he's extremely organized as well. So from a recruiting standpoint, that's really beneficial, very helpful. And then from a vision aspect, looking far into the future of, okay, where do we want to navigate? How do we get there? And have a plan, have a path. And certainly he loves the sport. He loves results.
Gotta be a swim nerd.
Right. You got to be a swim nerd, but more importantly, he's there for our student athletes, and then Kelsey, listen, I know Kelsey.
Yep.
Kelsey is world class. There's without a doubt. She's world class in everything that she's done and everything that she's earned up to this point. She put in hard work and dedication and sacrifice, and to go through that experience, to learn at that level, to be around an Olympic team, the U.S. Olympic team, to know what it's like to be on those teams, to travel the world. She brings a presence on deck that you can just feel. And you notice that when she speaks, you'll see the athletes kind of, oh, okay. They kind of up a little bit, and it's great to have that perspective and that elite level experience on deck. And I'm just excited to continue to see her blossom as a coach. She's doing great. She's been phenomenal. She's also a phenomenal listener as well. She just wants to listen and learn and get to know people, so get to know our student athletes and everything about Notre Dame. And so she really likes to learn. So that's just, a great attribute of hers. And then Trevor's kind of like my Swiss Army knife. He's awesome. I could have him work on this, then that, then this. He's able and flexible with anything that I want to give him. And he shares that passion, that vision. I coached Cam, coached Kelsey, and then I coached Trevor. So obviously I had that coaching relationship, student athlete relationship with them. So I knew what they brought to the pool. And then when Trevor went and got the job at Pittsburgh, it was great to see him kind of get into the college coaching ranks and develop his college profession as a coach. So I know he's going to be there no matter what. He's reliable. And it's just really great to see him continue to learn and blossom as a coach as well. And then Josh is really the only one that I hired out of my network of relationship. And I'm so glad I did. Josh brings a great dynamic. He has experience at Gardner-Webb. He had experience at Duke, and his ability to come in, see where we want to go, add something different. And it was important that I found somebody outside that bubble because we have our kind of perspective that we're used to. He comes in and will add a little bit of a twist to it, and that's welcoming. I want that, and he's also very proactive and forward thinking. And one of the biggest things he brings is passion, energy. When you're on deck, where Josh, if you watched NCAAs during the mile, when Jack Hoagland was swimming it, I kid you not, the banner, that's right on the banner. I'm surprised he didn't break his hand. Because the whole time he's like, go back and watch it, guys. You'll be able to hear it. You'll hear the pounding. That's the energy. That's the passion, the love that he brings. And so ultimately, I feel like they all kind of bring their own thing. And then ultimately too, I feel like they challenge me in a productive way.
Yeah.
Like I need people that are going to challenge what I'm thinking, what I want to do, and bring a different perspective. That's what makes the staff great. So certainly the synergy is great. And we're excited to continue to build it.
Yeah. I don't think I've met Cameron or Josh, so I'm very excited to meet both of them. Do you guys split up groups and who gets what group?
Yeah, that's a good question. Team coaching, our philosophy is team coaching. I think it's really important to be able to rotate, move
Yeah.
coaches around. Obviously, from a relationship standpoint, an outreach standpoint, we also have, I feel like, a good combination of both worlds where we do have that team coaching. We're able to spread our wings from that standpoint, but we have our specific zones or groups that we're going to work with.
Okay.
Cam typically comes from a distance background, so he's worked with our distance swimmers this year. Um, Kelsey, obviously sprint, butterfly. She kind of worked with me hand in hand with the sprinters this year. And then Josh and Trevor, more middle distance, IM, 4 IM. But again, we like to rotate too. We want to get a mix. I think it's good for all of us professionally, but ultimately I feel like that's a really good blend for our student athletes as well.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if people on the call know I'm coaching part-time at NYU right now. And that means I only go in like 3 times a week, but I only see the breaststrokers. And then sometimes I go to meets and I'm like, I don't even know who these kids are. So I do wish I could
Right.
switch it up a little bit. And I love that idea of team coaching. Wow, time is flying. I guess I got to move on from this topic now. Let's see.
One
Um,
thing I wanted to touch on staff wise, even though I didn't bring him in, is Mark Bradshaw, our head diving coach.
yeah,
Mark's been phenomenal plug and play to adjust to us new staff. Obviously, being able to adjust to how we recruit, our pool schedule, different things like that. Right, there's a lot of change, and just his flexibility and willingness and to partner with our vision has been tremendous. He's a phenomenal technical coach. I've been around some great diving coaches. The improvement rate that our divers had this season, the things that they were able to accomplish, and we'll touch on that later this season, is just tremendous. And it really says a lot about his experience.
yeah.
I think he brings a wealth of experience that he had himself, but also to the level at which he can coach our athletes. So it's been great to work with Mark and see his vision that he has for our diving program.
Yeah, that's perfect. We actually had a question that was submitted on the registration form from Heidi Gilbertson. Let me look at that year, class of 11. And she said, we'd love an update on the diving program. So if you want to dive into that a little bit more.
Yeah, no pun intended. They rocked it this year. There were several instances where it came down to the wire and we needed diving to come through. And you know what? I was cool and confident that they
Yeah.
could. And that's awesome when you have that combination. I've been on some lopsided teams in the past where it's like, you don't know if you have that. This year, without a doubt, it was, yes, we have that. And this year, for the first time ever in school history, we had a diver final in every event at ACCs. There's no other school. Yes, clap to that. There's no other school in the ACC that did that. So I mean, it's awesome. There's momentum building there, and we're certainly excited for our divers.
That's incredible. Diving coming in clutch. Let's move on to some season highlights for the whole program, men and women. We can start with just ACC. We can do NCAAs. We can do the whole season. I'll let you kind of decide where to drive.
Yeah, I'll roll with it. The season as a whole was, if I could sum it up in one word, was growth. It was growth for me, growth for our staff, growth for our student athletes. The biggest thing that we challenged our student athletes was to be all in what we're trying to do. And it's not just, we talked about this briefly earlier, it's not just in the water. It's not a seesaw. It's in life.
Right.
In life, and understanding that the things you do outside of the pool, in academics, social responsibility, those areas, those contribute to your success in the pool. So ultimately, we are looking to grow together as a team this year. Certainly, we're all measured by results. I get that. And we're far from finished. We started off on the right path. But the biggest thing was, let's grow, let's provide stability, let's provide a direction, and let's dream again. The question we asked all year is, why not us? Why not Notre Dame? Why not us? And I goosebumps again. Why not? And the more and more we ask, the more like, yeah, let's go. Why not us? We can do this. And so we had some lofty goals at the beginning of the year. We do a team retreat. We go out to Elkhart, Camp Prairie, and it's great. We spend a night with the women's team, and then we have a day of overlap, and then we spend a night with the men's team, and we go over team goals and what we're trying to accomplish. It really just kickstarts, our season. It's the next weekend after school starts in August. So, and the biggest thing was bonding, but setting these team goals, and it was to GPA, to community service, to obviously everything athletically. It was to, how do we treat one another with love and respect? Those like, when I talk season highlights, that growth, that stability, that focus, that was where I believe we won the most this year. And I'm just tremendously excited and proud of the buy-in, the belief, and the ability to dream again and get excited. When you look at this team that I took over, COVID, coaching change. I mean, the turmoil for our senior class just to get to their senior year, the best thing we could do is, hey, let's keep it simple. Let's go to school, swim, do well outside of the pool, and have some fun. So, obviously ACCs was a success. We had, and I can bore you guys with all the stats real quick if you want, but we had 2 ACC champions, Chris Giuliano, Jack Hoagland. We had 37 all-time top 10 performances. We broke 12 school records. We ended up 5th combined from a combined standpoint. So 8th on the women and 5th on the men, but our team total combined ended up 5th overall. We were 8th last year combined. So there was a lot of success overall from a team aspect. We had a number of, I got asked the other day, how many best times, man, I have no idea. We should maybe keep track of that stat, but a lot, a lot of best times, but not a lot of best times, but I'll dig even deeper. We had people who didn't go best times since junior year of high school,
right?
Juniors in college, so, or even deeper than that. Like we had student athletes that maybe they didn't go best time, but they went their best time in college in 4 years or 3 years. Yeah, we all know how the sport is, but that's a win. That's a win. And when it can be mentally draining, when you're chasing that objective time, it's little wins like that go a long ways. So ACC, great success, team energy. I don't know how many of you were able to make it to any of our dual meets this year. I know we didn't have as many opportunities. We're working on having more, but team energy was a huge part of it. I know I felt the presence on deck. I hope that if you were able to come to a meet, you felt the presence on deck. But team energy at these meets is so crucial. It's momentum. It's a roller coaster ride. You've been through it. So to be able to hold on to that team energy for as many sessions as a multi-day meet like ACCs is certainly important. And then, moving to NCAAs, we had four women for NCAAs. Unfortunately, listen, it's stats are stats. We did not score points at NCAAs. That's something that we're hungry for. But I'm incredibly proud of the team that we brought there. We brought two swimmers who weren't at the meet last year. So, I think the growth, the idea that, hey, like we can do this, it's coming. It's coming. And I'm excited for them to continue to learn, to share that, to grow. Going to a meet like NCAAs, I remember my first time, and maybe you can relate, like, it's a lot. You can almost get starstruck a little bit. You're like, and I just remember talking to Kelsey her first time going to the meet. She's hurrying everywhere she goes.
Yes. Like a little mouse.
Yeah, it's like, Kels, slow down.
Yeah.
breathe, relax. It's so the pressure, the stress. So it's a lot to go to a meet like that and learn. And certainly I know our women did, and we're hungry. It's burning inside us. And we're already working right now. We just had a great dry land, kick some butt. We're hungry. So, and then to the men, listen, all year it was a dream of ours to climb the ranks. But I don't know if necessarily we put a exact, hey, we want to be top this, top that. I knew we could. I knew we could. And I knew that they believed it, but it was about, hey, again, back to the basics. Let's come together. Let's be all in together. Let's work on this together. Whether you make NCAs or not, you have an impact
Yeah.
on this team and on this journey. And so listen, we went to NCAs and had a phenomenal meet. I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, it was
Great.
you look at the stats. Yes, you have your ASU, you have ASU, you have Cal, you have Texas, you have a couple other schools from a projection standpoint. When you look at what we were projected to what we did, we were far above the majority of the teams at NCAs, far above. And if you look at individual points that we scored, we're a top 10 team. We
Yeah.
are. We are. Now it's figuring out the relay piece. And certainly we know that we get the relay piece and we're working on it. But to be 18th, to have 5 NCAA All-Americans, to enjoy that experience, I kept telling our athletes, be with your feet, be with your feet. This is the last time this team is going to be this team. Be with your feet, enjoy it. Whether we end up 29th or 16th, we missed it by half point, just right there. This is a moment that you don't get back. Enjoy it, have fun with it. So highest finish in program history. Certainly excited. I was in the locker, excuse me, in the Goog in the weight room today, and football has a board up there. They have 3 categories. It's hungry, it's satisfied, hungry, and starving. And I can guarantee you this: nobody's in the satisfied.
Yeah.
So although we're enjoying the moment and the success we've had this year, we're certainly starving for more.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to work.
Yeah, like you told me yesterday, you're still in that pre-walk phase before you can crawl and then run. And I said, if this is pre-walk, I can't wait to see what run looks like. I'm so excited. And I think, no matter what the places are and how far you jump in any of those things, I think the best times and the best times in college, for me, I think that says the most, because you cannot improve like that if you are not feeling supported and not having a good time. And that was the case for me and my friends and my teammates. And I'm just really happy to hear all of that. It's so exciting for the program.
Well, I asked you yesterday, how did you do what you did? It's a valid question. It's
Yeah.
a valid question. And you said, I had fun. Obviously, you had a lot of other things, right? Like we talked time management, sleep, right? You knew what worked for you.
Yeah.
But you had fun. You had fun doing it, and you loved it. And that's what we're trying to do here. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was that. When it all boils down to it, I think I was just having a blast. I loved my teammates. I love Notre Dame. I loved my experience, and that made everything else easy. When you have this great environment surrounding you. Let's move on to recruiting. So tell us about the characteristics that you look for when recruiting a student athlete to Notre Dame. And then I guess in tandem with that, this is a question from Caroline Johnson, class of 08. Have you adapted or changed your recruiting strategy since being a student?
Yeah, that's a good question. Good coaches coach, great coaches recruit.
Nice.
And that's the game. It's the bloodline. It's the game we play. And so recruiting is relentless. It's never ending. I don't have an off season. This is my off season mustache, my inner Ted Lasso. But I see Marie shaking her head. But listen, it's something that we value. It's our bloodline. Like we have to recruit. We have to put in the work. We have to vet out who we want to bring in. We definitely do a lot of scouting. this incoming 23 class that we have it's a really good class. We're really excited. The 24 class we're building right now, but even with the 24 class, when you look at my time being hired and getting my staff in order to recruit, I mean, this was midsummer, and June 15th is a magical date for rising juniors, for any of those on here that have kids swimming. So June 15th. And so we were kind of backs against the wall, trying to really navigate, organize, and have a plan. We put together, I think, a really good class, and we're still not done with 24. Fortunately for COVID, with this COVID year that came in, the 5th year, we've been able to kind of piece together some great transfer options. So we have a few surprises up our sleeve that will be announced here coming up shortly. Some world-class athletes that we're extremely excited that will be joining our Notre Dame family. But ultimately, what I'm looking for is an attitude and a mindset. We have to recruit great students. Listen, the admissions process here at Notre Dame, it's a top 20 university. It's world-class. We know that we have to recruit at that level. But I think in the past, or somewhat what I've heard, is the narrative is like, hey, I can go to Notre Dame and get a great education and then swim. And now the narrative to me is I can go to Notre Dame, swim fast, and get a great education. So it almost flip-flops, not putting one in front of the other. Obviously, I do prioritize academics, and to me, that is number one. And that's what I'll tell those three every single day. But it's that mindset of who we're targeting, who we're looking for, and really the ability to dream big, be lofty. Times on paper are great, but paper does not swim, So certainly we have measurements. We were looking at standards. We're looking at bringing in a certain level, but I'm looking at the way someone carries themselves, their body language, the way they interact and communicate with their teammates, their coaches, the way they talk about their family. We go through this a lot. And so we definitely learned some strategies over the years in our recruiting, and ultimately getting to know those student athletes and prospective student athletes is the biggest part. So then we can say, hey, this is the right fit or no. I had to turn away some really, really good recruits this past year because their priorities did not align with ours. And that's okay. It's not always going to be apples to apples, and that's perfectly fine. We're going to find ours. We're going to find ours, and we're going to find the right people who are passionate about it and love a place like Notre Dame, because it certainly garners that, and it's a special place. So from a recruiting strategy to the question, have I changed anything? I don't think so much. I think ultimately, it's no secret, and I'm not throwing shade at my own personal education, but recruiting at Louisville was not as hard from an academic standpoint. It just, we could get in pretty much anybody and everybody. We're amongst friends here, and I can be transparent and honest about that. So there has been some difficulty in navigating that, but I look at it as a good challenge. I look at it as a good thing. And it's also, on the flip side, in areas where I lost in the past, the academics don't meet that level. Well, we know we have it here at Notre Dame. I mean, when you come here, you check out College of Mendoza, you come on campus, you meet the professors, you meet the support staff, you meet all of the people, the attention to detail involved in this program. It's world class. So, that's the angle that I have to sell, and the angle that we're going to use in our strategy to recruit here at Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's great. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Notre Dame is a special beast. And when everyone asks me, why did you choose Notre Dame? After telling them that it was just a gut feeling, it's the academics and the name and the legacy, and like you said, the community, the people on campus. And I knew that I was going to have people to support me forever. Like, I know I could reach out to any one of these people on the call if I ever needed anything, and they would drop whatever they're doing and help. And I will do the same for any of you, by the way. And so, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that one, but so excited to see what you're going to be doing with these next couple classes and when you're going to drop this big secret. Ooh, keep an eye on the Instagram.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. So it's they will change our ability to perform in relays at NCAA significantly. So I'm
Amazing.
excited. So news to come.
Okay. I'll put an alert on. I'll get the little bell going. April 21st. What day is today? 18th. Okay, so we're coming up on it. Marks a year since ND announced that you would be joining the Fighting Irish. Congrats. Almost there, almost 365. Can you talk about how you felt on that day a year ago?
You know, besides marrying my wife, coming to Notre Dame was the best decision I've ever made. And it was an overwhelming experience. I remember it's one of those things you go through it, and some of y'all may know this, but when you come for an interview at Notre Dame, they vet it out and they do their homework. And fortunately, I had some great people. Marie was phenomenal in that process. Tony Fonseca was also involved, just helping me feel comfortable and being myself. I kept telling myself, just what do I need to do to get this job? And everybody, my dad, Beth, my wife, like all of my close friends, just be you, and that's to this day, that's what I tell anybody that's going to any interview. Our current student athletes who are applying for jobs, be yourself, and I remember when it was announced, it just was this moment of excitement and this overwhelming feeling of pride and the almost like the ability to use the key to unlock these doors that I hadn't necessarily opened yet, of areas for me to grow, because I knew we're there kind of waiting. It's like, I kept looking, I'm like, one day, for years, one day. And then finally Notre Dame gave me the key and I opened them, and that's when you learn and you start to go to work. And I can't believe it's already been a year.
No.
It flies by. It's when you reflect, you're like, it was a long year, because there's just so much work, but it's fast. It will continue to go fast each year after one another. So
yeah, I'm sure it will. Yeah, Notre Dame does tend to pull the best out of people. It's great to hear they've already experienced that in 1 year.
I heard a quote. It was, don't come in and try to change Notre Dame. Let Notre Dame change you. And I embodied that and embraced that as much as I possibly could all year. And I'm excited, and it has, and I'm excited to continue to grow in that as well. So
yeah, oh, that's so great. Don Casey, class of 82, reflecting on this past year, he would like to know what's something that's really surprised you about Notre Dame over this past year. Something you weren't expecting.
Great question. Yeah. I think it kind of goes back to the attention to detail, and that is also that's connected with the network and community piece. Obviously when I was going through my interview process, a big part of me was asking those questions. What's the community like? What's the Notre Dame network like? And I definitely got some great answers, but again, until you live it and go through it, you just don't know. And I've heard that so many times with alumni, with our current student athletes. You don't know until you're here and you experience it and you go through it. And so that network, that community, how close it is. This is special. This is awesome that we're able to do this. By the way, this does not happen everywhere, guys. This does not happen everywhere. And it's not even just now. It's the support throughout the year, the love that I've gotten from a lot of alumni, to be able to come in, pop in, say hi, just say encouraging words, nothing too crazy. That's been, even though I knew I was going to get into that, to live it and see it was definitely surprising. Then I would also say the attention to detail, everything here at Notre Dame, there's structure, there's detail, there's thought into why it's there, what its purpose is for.
Yeah.
You look at all the way down to the landscaping, you look at the bushes, it's
perfect.
trimmed, just like it's like it was an architect of a beautiful picture and a painting, and it's there's a purpose for it, and it's hard to put into words, but the attention to detail, and then it goes into the administration, the support staff, how many individuals are here just willing, ready to help. That all goes into the detail of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I agree. You can tell that everyone really, really cares for and loves this school. People that are there, people that are no longer on campus. It was so weird. I was walking home from work today, getting ready for this, and see this once in a while, but I saw 3 people wearing Notre Dame things. No joke. I saw 3 in a 20-minute walk, and I was like, there it is again. There's the Notre Dame thing. It's the sign. You can't explain it.
It is a funny story. So in the interview process, I don't know if I shared this with anybody really. We're in the interview process, and I'm obviously talking with Beth and everything, and she knows exactly everything that's going on. And anyways, I talked to her in the morning, and then I get this text, and she's like, "You'll never guess it." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "I was walking through, I don't know where she was, the mall or wherever, and someone was wearing a Notre Dame shirt. It's a sign." So it was, it was a sign that it was destiny and meant to be. And those little things like that, I believe in it. It was meant to be. So.
I do too. We'll go back and forth on this one more time. I love this story too. My recruiting trip, after I felt that feeling of home, I was like, I gotta be there. I was like, I don't know why Notre Dame. I got home and I was like, recruiting trips, exhausting. And I laid down to take a nap immediately upon getting home. And I turned on the TV, didn't change the channel or anything. This is cable, no streaming. And Rudy is on the TV. I cannot make this up. I swear I'm not making this up. My dad might be a theater professor, but this is true.
Had you seen it before?
I'd never seen it. No.
Did you want it? I'm sure you did.
I fell asleep. Took a nap. But I bought it on DVD shortly after that.
Okay, there you go.
No, I didn't even know where Notre Dame was geographically before my recruiting trip.
Yeah, so. I come across that a lot on the phone with recruits. I'm like, it's in South Bend, Indiana, and then we actually just had we had a recruit in from England this past week, and she's like, we obviously internationally, there's only so much you can do. We send virtual tours, campus tours, all of that, and so we're like, hey, just come see it, come live it. And she came, and she's like, I had no idea this place was this beautiful and this amazing. And like, she's like, I didn't even know where South Bend was. And really, I didn't even really know where Indiana was. I was like, well,
why would you? Yeah, pictures are still beautiful, but
they do justice. Yeah.
What's your favorite spot on campus?
It's hard. I have a couple, and listen, I love the grotto. It's just a place of peace and thought, whether you have faith or not.
Yeah.
There's a presence there. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm sure everybody on here understands. So the grotto is great. Obviously, the dome, God's Quad is just phenomenal. It's hard to beat that. I really enjoy South Quad, how long it is in front of the rock there. Apparently it's the largest college quad in the country. So that's a pretty cool fact. But it's gorgeous. And I remember, besides the dome and the grotto, when I made my walks, like that sticks out to me the most, that quad. And then you have the American flag sitting right there in the middle. And it's like, there's just something, God, country, and Notre Dame. I'm like, yes, let's go.
I'm in.
I'm in. So probably those 3 spots.
Those are good ones. Mine are the docks in the summer and South Dining Hall. I had a lot of good times in both of those places.
Hogwarts. Yep. Hogwarts.
Yeah,
yep.
Exactly. I lived in Walsh for my 3 years on campus. So I was on Pod, South Pod.
Yep.
Let's move into our last little section of 5-10 minutes left. And this question is from my good friend, Catherine McKenzie, class of 17. How can we as Notre Dame Swim and Dive alumni better support and connect with our current athletes?
That's a great question. I think, first of all, the more we can structure things like this, certainly coming from our end, that's going to be huge in our network. Um, Public notice, you guys on here are always welcome to come and visit us. If you're in town, if you're at a football game, whatever it is, please let us know. Stop by, come say hi, hang out on deck. You can talk, you can just hang, do whatever you want. The doors are open. So I really want to stress that, and I think that goes into just overall our swimming and diving Notre Dame community. Um, I think as far as support, one thing that we want to do too is we want to host, and this is a soft announcement, but in the fall we're looking at either the OSU football weekend, or we're going to be racing Purdue, which will also be in October. That will be a good home dual meet where we do an alumni weekend gathering. We're working on some of the details. That's also a recruiting weekend. So first meet. So there's a lot of things, but I think we can have a great kind of concoction of all three combined. So coming to something like that, and supporting our student athletes, getting to our meets as much as you can, and then when you can, giving back, doing, like Notre Dame Giving Day, that's huge for us. We had a goal last year to raise 15,000. We were able to achieve that. This year we doubled it to 30. Um, yeah, I'm super excited about that goal. I believe we can do it. That supports us. That allows us to do the things necessary at the elite level that we want to do. I'm also excited to announce we had a Rockney benefactor. She committed 30,000 additionally to what we're trying to do through this initiative, and just super excited about the momentum we have in this program. And what it does, it just allows us to, I'll give an example, flying ACCs. Listen, there's no direct flight from South Bend to Greensboro, and for the foreseeable future, it's going to be in Greensboro. For us to have the flexibility to charter and have a healthy discretionary in place, and I want to be clear, our athletic budget, our administration, they support us. They do a great job. But it's great when you have a healthy discretionary budget, because you're able to have that flexibility. If I need to do a charter flight, or something comes up and we've got to adjust plans and pay for something else, or whatever it is, like that flexibility and the ability to build that is certainly important. So we look at training table as well. I know, did you have training table when you were a student?
Yeah, Monday through Thursday, North.
So they don't have it anymore.
Really?
They do not. So we're working on bringing it back. So right now we're looking at, until they bring it back, what are some supplemental nutrition strategies we can provide? Do we create something outside of, what they're offering in athletics and obviously on campus? Do we do our own thing? Do we fund that? Is that something I pull from discretionary? So there's just little things like that, I think, goes a long ways in what we're trying to do.
Yeah, definitely. I know I would not have been able to even dream about attending the University of Notre Dame without the generosity of people that donated to the Rockney Athletics Fund. So changing a lot of lives out there.
Yeah.
Last little one. I know I'm getting some chats on here. We can take that offline, do a little email. But can you talk about the support you have received and seen this year specifically? Anything that stands out to you?
I would say one of the biggest supporters, of our program, and certainly somebody that helped endow my position, is Carl Peterson. I'm extremely thankful for him. And beyond that, obviously the endowment is a huge aspect of my position and the health of our program. But just getting to know him, and getting to know his passion for our program. He's excited. We're sharing texts all year. Extremely grateful for his leadership in that, and his support. That goes a long ways. And so just extremely grateful for that love. And it's the best part about the support, Emma, that I've gotten this year it's unconditional.
Yeah.
It's unconditional. And it's not about me. It's about what you guys, what everyone on here is so passionate about. So passionate about. You know, what do we need here? We need to continue to build our swimming brand within Notre Dame, our swimming and diving brand within Notre Dame. We
Yeah.
need to continue to climb that ladder. We need to continue to build our reputation, our athletic reputation. We need to continue to be at the NCAA level. You know, and that's how we create more momentum, right? And continue to climb these ladders and do something special and something we've never done before. So yeah, that's the support that I just, the unconditional support and just the love that, you know, that we get from alumni, friends, family across the world to reach out and say, hey, if you need anything, just let me know. So.
Yeah. The network is so wide and so constantly supportive.
Mhm.
I know I'm grateful for that as well. Well, I believe that's all we have today. There were a couple of questions that we didn't get to. I wonder if we can do some sort of like Q&A via email to send out to all of the participants at some point later. But I just wanted to say, let me cycle through all these people up here so I can see your faces. There you are. Thank you all so much for being here. I had a blast. This was really the second time I've gotten to know Chris. And I personally couldn't be happier that the program is in his and his staff's hands. This was delightful. So thank you all for coming. I don't know if you want to say any last words, Chris.
Thank you, everybody. Looking forward to meeting. I know I've met many of you. Looking forward to meeting more of you. Again, doors are always welcome. Please come back and say hi. And excited for the future of this program. Excited to continue to do this as one group, as one family. You know, it's just like I was saying with our NCAA team. In regards to if you weren't at NCAAs, you still play a role. And I very much look at that from a program standpoint. And that goes for you guys, you know, once in, never out, you know, and that is something we preached all year. And so certainly you guys are a part of this team and never forget it. So grateful to be here. Thankful for everybody. Appreciate it. And like they say, go Irish.
Go Irish. Woo!